Alright, hey everybody, coming back after a long hiatus. But with Season 2 of Arcane just days away, I decided I'd take a shot and check out some trailers, get psyched up for the season, and then I'm probably going to try and, if I find the time, do reactions to Season 2 like I did Season 1. So I'm going to just check out today. I didn't even, been so lost on the radar that I didn't even notice until I got the notification in Netflix, coming November 9th, so days away for me. That's for this recording. So I'm going to check out the teaser trailer and the official trailer for Season 2, and then I'm going to do some theory crafting and theorizing and stuff like that. Okay, let's see if I can remember how to do this. God, I hope this is all set up properly. I don't know what I'm doing. Alright. Aftermath. Makes sense.
Your council is dead.
The aftermath wasn't as bad as I thought for the rocket attack.
Must be met with wrath.
Typical Noxian response.
You will have justice.
Oh, hextech rifle, yeah. Proper weapon for her skills. Yeah, and by joining up, do that. Oh man, visuals and music already. Oh, final chapter. Yeah, sort of did that.
3 objectives.
Okay.
Locate Jinx.
Okay. Yep, gonna fight. Sister's fighting up.
Dismantle Shimmer. And neutralize any agents still loyal to Silco.
Okay. So she's taking up the job Vi started in Season 1. That was...
Is gone.
Auric, who was teased. Talk about that later. Yeah.
Jinx!
Finally got the name right. Sister.
Yeah. And the fight that was sort of teased, that fight was sort of teased in the intro to Season 1 had that final shot of them going at it. So this is really, yeah, like it says, final chapter, finishing the story that was started in Season 1. So I'm gonna just quick question for you guys out there. As it says, final chapter, and like I said, I got the notification on Netflix and it said final chapter or final season, suggesting there will not be an Arcane Season 3, which may sound tragic, and because this has just been fantastic. I want more of it, and I don't see, with the success that it's been, that they wouldn't. But it also becomes a thing where, this story is coming to its conclusion. What would you do next? And for that, I guess my question out there is, would you want a Season 3 if this story sort of concludes all of its storylines? Would you want a Season 3 that starts a brand new story? Or for, just to bring everybody in, for the handful of people not aware, Arcane is based on a game that has a whole world and a laundry list of champions to write stories about, to tell. And they could do like Season 3 and do a new story with the characters they built, or go somewhere completely else. And that's the thing, if they went somewhere totally different, it would be strange to call it Arcane. If it's a completely different place, different characters that you don't know at all, it's a completely new story. So that's my theory for what they might go with. Arcane is finished, but there'll be another series. So, 2 separate series, same universe. And hopefully same creators, animators, and storytellers, because they've just done a fantastic job on this. This season was great. This story was great, and it's gotten better every time I've watched it. So I want more, but I also understand why you can't really do a Season 3 Arcane. That's mine. What do you guys think? Would you want a Season 3 Arcane, a new story with the characters here? Or would you like to go explore out in the world different characters, a different world, expand this universe, if you will, and for the League aficionados out there, if yes, where would you want to go? And which champions would you like to focus on next? That's just a thought from me, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comments. Anyway, on to official trailer. That was a teaser, this is the official trailer, and those are the guys I'm going to do, and then I'm going to theorize about some of our main characters and some of the events there, and that will take forever, but because I ramble and go off on tangents, but we'll see. Second one up and ready. This is the official trailer.
You were right, Kate.
The rocket.
My sister is gone.
You had that
only
before.
Jinx now.
I want to tear that laugh from her throat forever.
Ooh.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Come together, do that. And
Return
the
us to
turmoil
the
for
city.
Vi.
You must declare martial law.
Okay, she's on the council now?
Topside is the real enemy. You have the chance to rally the Undercity together. Your symbol.
There was some of that, okay.
So what are you planning?
Watch it all burn.
Yeah. Just going for the all out thing. No, it's so good already! Yeah, okay. Leading it next.
You felt
Whoa.
it, haven't you?
Yeah. Bringing in Warwick.
The Arcane
Oh,
is waking up.
that's X-Core junk. More of the Shimmer guys.
Sometimes taking a leap forward
Oh, she's got her electro
means leaving
pistol.
a few things behind.
Okay, is that the core they keep showing? Ooh! Oh,
Then stomp me.
yeah, okay. Can I go get in? Oh, ow! I have got to look at a couple of those scenes. Sorry, is there anything else? No, it's just the Netflix stuff. I gotta go, because there was a couple of shots there right at the end. They flashed by really quick. Because this is them, but is this... It feels like they're setting up... They keep flashing what I think is the core. The hex core thing that was sort of like this hidden threat that was just growing in the shadows that we weren't really paying attention to. As viewers, we saw it, but they just weren't taking it very seriously. Our heroes were ignoring it or not paying attention to it. So now it feels like it's getting way out of hand, and maybe that's part of it. So I'm curious, is this Vi and Echo against Jinx or against the core? Yeah, see, oh. Wait a minute. Okay, man, these go by really fast. I think I'm going to slow it down. Can I do that? Of course I can. Alright, I'm going to slow it down a little bit because it's going way too fast for me. I want to see some of these shots a little bit faster. Okay, this is them. Okay, that was the whole core, but it's in the hand of our mystery wizard, who a lot of people thought was a champion. I can't remember his name right now. Shit. His name is... I keep thinking Malthazar, but that's the Void guy. He's not the mage that I'm thinking of. That is either a young Jinx, or Powder, depending on how you view it, or it's somebody else, and it's sort of like a circle thing. It's like she went through it, and now, because of Jinx's actions, she's putting others through it. That's Echo. What is that shot there? It's such a quick one. Of Caitlyn. There's Echo with his, that looks like his Time Winder, so he's going to get his thing, which is a device that gives him time manipulation. Okay, that's Caitlyn against a Shimmer guy. Okay. But this looks like Caitlyn... Caitlyn seems to have a glow-up where she's got the white beret and stuff. This seems to be her before that. Now, who's this? That is the one. This I don't know. This is I'm curious about because it's got the sort of gem crystal thing embedded. Oh, wait, no. This might be Victor. This might actually be a shot, because I was actually questioning that. We weren't getting anything of Jason Victor. This might be Victor. He's got sort of... I think I recognize the pants, and that might be his brace on the leg, and he uses a... He used a cane and then to a full-on... oh, God, I can't... I don't know words. What is the thing I'm thinking of? Crutch. Thank you. Jesus Christ. How did I not know that word? Okay, this scene is fabulous. This is Vi and Warwick. That is 100% Warwick. That is something I will okay, fuck it. I'm going to get into it now because it's perfectly right there. But that was one of the questions. The big question for Warwick, he's a champion from League. He's a sort of, normally he's like a wolf man thing, like full on non-humanoid that you can't, or at least can't tell. And that's sort of his whole story. It's like he was somebody, but we don't really know who he was before he became the monster. A lot of fan theory and speculation that Warwick is Vander and that they're one and the same. I, for one, agree with this theory. It is both really awesome, but also horribly tragic if it is him. It's just a horrible way for his story to end. Oh, excuse me. But it would make such a good story if it was. And that was sort of a question a lot of people had. Do you think it is? And I was never in doubt. Warwick and Vander would be one and the same. That it would be him, because it's sort of the thing of, Warwick is this known champion for the fans out there. He's a big reveal. If he's not Vander, do we want to know who he is? Do we care? So it's like, who else could it be if not Vander? But the other question I had, I was never in doubt that it is him. My question was, would the sisters ever find out? Like, as viewers, we would probably find out. Would the sisters ever learn the truth of Vander's fate? So this shot here of them facing off kind of at least confirms that they will interact. But it still leaves the question open. Will she recognize him at all? And that's something I'd be interested to see. And it's like, here's my thought. Do you want her to know? Do you want Vi to realize, if Vander and Warwick are one and the same, do you want Vi to know that? Because realistically, the story of Warwick is that he is a man that became a monster and he's stuck that way. There's no real... Which means if he is Vander and they do find out, there's nothing she can do to help him. So that's just putting that out there. So it's like, if that's your reason, it's like you can't help him if they don't realize it's him. They can't help him even if they do know. So that would just be a thought. Would you, with that knowledge, would you rather Vi not recognize him, or that she does, and the trauma of that? Because she's already got her sister, who's effectively become a monster for all intents and purposes, and now we have her parental guardian / mentor into a literal monster. I mean, how much more can she take at this point? So that would be my question. Just thoughts down below. And that was Heimerdinger doing something. This might be Arcane. I can't tell. I think that might be... Oh, God damn it. This goes way too far back. What is this? This is what this was what just before Vander. When I first saw it, I thought it might be Victor, but I wonder if it's like another manifestation for Jinx. In this case, it might be Silco or it's Jinx. It's hard to tell, really. I can't really get a good look. I thought it might be Victor, but then I saw some. It might be Silco. Or some manifestation. I don't know what that was. But God, I love this already. I love this already so much. Oh, I thank my lucky stars I didn't do this back when these trailers came out, because I would be going nuts for the weeks and months that it would have been before this show actually came out. Oh, thank God I only have a couple of days to wait. Okay, Hybridinger's setting off some stuff, so he's going to get into the fighting. He's also a champion, so it'd be cool to see what he can get up to. Not quite sure. Last we saw him, he was with Echo, right? Yeah, he was with Echo, seeing the realities of the Undercity for the first time in a long time. Okay, this I can't tell. I can't get a good shot at who. This must involve the Hex Core, this kind of stuff. So I'm not sure who that could be, but my guesses would be Echo, Jace, and or Victor in that somewhere. Some sort of combination of those. Dealing with it, perhaps. Oh. Hang on, that might be Vi. Yeah, that's Vi. Oh, hang on, this is happening. Yeah, this looks like the cavern where they're going to fight Jinx, or at least one of their fights with Jinx. I'm not entirely sure if that's... But there... Okay, so that was Jinx. I was looking at the artwork here. I gotta do a bit more in-depth one to look at the artwork they had in the cavern when she was talking to her sister. Yeah, so... God, I'm loving this already. It's just so crazy. This is so good. There's no way they're not going to do other stuff. These guys have done such a fantastic job on this. It would be just a waste not to. But now getting into some theorizing here. Guess where to start. I guess try and start with Jinx. It was interesting to see. It looks like she's sort of becoming a leader in the Undercity. Like, I guess it works where the Undercity has a sort of, how do you say, there's like an underlying tone of rage and fury pointed towards Piltover for all of their subjugation for all intents and purposes. So Jinx firing that rocket would have gotten a lot of attention from a lot of people, which is what, I think her name is Savika, the right hand, Silgo's right hand, is talking about, using her to unite the Undercity. Because I guess that's the difference between her and Silgo to some extent. Is like, they talked about Silgo before, it's like, yeah, he ran things in the Undercity, but he ran them through power and money. You know, so it's like he had position because he had the power and to take it. Nobody could challenge him. But he didn't really have the people's support, if you will. It's more subjugation. So, whereas here, Jinx with her rocket and that underlying anger pointed towards Piltover that she's touched on will rally people to her side, will rally the public of the Undercity, because it's right now it's just the power structure was essentially the gangs with the power and the money, and then the regular people of the Undercity just being subjugated by them, which is interesting considering their whole thing about freeing themselves from Piltover's tyranny. They just became the tyrants themselves. And it's also because we also saw Silco had his little council, but they were already turning on him. There were already fractures before he died. Now that he's dead, classic thing in that kind of structure, run by fear and power. When the guy in charge dies, everybody wants to take their piece of it. So I imagine that's going to be part of the thing. It's like Jinx is going to realize the effect that she can have with the connection to, triggering this impact on the citizenry, and the opportunity to sort of build it up around her, with Savika helping her, which is strange considering their relationship in season 1 was antagonistic, to say the least. But it's interesting to see, and it's interesting to see her put into that light as a sort of symbol of rebellion against oppression. But I'm sort of curious how she feels about it, which I imagine we're going to see. And this is my question for you guys. How do you think she's going to respond? How do you think she's going to work? Because just going from what we know about Jinx, she doesn't show any. She's shown remorse for some of the actions she's taken, but she's also callously killed people and things without batting an eye, and she's shown no, what do we say, interest or compassion or dedication to the cause that Silco was building. She was always sort of on her own, doing her own thing. So I guess it fits with her thing where she's saying her plan is to burn it all down. She's not really... Savika, I think, was a follower of that philosophy, free the Undercity, sort of freeing the Undercity from Piltover's control, liberate themselves and become their own independent selves. And I think she was loyal to that more than she was Silco. She supported him because he was the best choice for that, and that's why she's going to support Jinx now, despite their past relationship. But I think that the difference is that Savika is pro freeing the Undercity. I think her ultimate goal is if she can free the Undercity rather than destroy Piltover, she'd do it. Like if she had the deal that was offered in season 1, she would have taken it and would have thrown Jinx to the wolves because she doesn't give a shit about her. But Jinx doesn't care about that fundamentally. I think her goal is destroying Piltover, not liberating the Undercity, if I'm trying to explain my thought process and what I'm trying to say. Essentially, she's not... So, it's going to become that. It's going to be initially, but then the obvious friction when it becomes clear that Jinx just wants to inflict pain and damage and chaos in general thing, and doesn't really care about liberating the Undercity. That's secondary. Just watch it all burn. So, ending for Jinx. As a champion, I highly doubt they'll kill her, so she's probably not going to die in any of the fights. So that leaves capture, I guess, as an option. Totally possible. That's classic. That's a classic story, right? Defeat the villain, capture them, they get out and cause more trouble later. Classic superhero stuff. The other one, which I personally think is going to happen, is probably something similar to what happened on the bridge, where she's shown she's very happy to self-destruct if it means, rather than lose and be captured. So I imagine her end is probably going to be, she's going to be raised up as this symbol of rebellion, and either she's gonna go out in like a blaze of glory, and it's one of those classic things of, a classic thing in storytelling when an explosion or she falls off from a high height or whatever, and it's just presumed dead, but not, you never find a body and you never really confirm. It's happened, you know what I'm talking about. That's probably the end. So the only question left is, will she do so as a sort of martyr to the cause and be remembered fondly, or will she sort of reveal her true colors and essentially destroy that image of a rebel leader and then be destroyed? Because she's not really, Jinx isn't really, not normally that way. She's sort of just a loose cannon chaos element. So putting her in this weird rebel position is very odd. Interesting and fascinating as hell, but it's not where she's going to end up, is what I'm trying to say. At least the way I think. Well, that was Jinx. So, end goal. Thoughts, as always. Next, I guess we can go move on to Sister, Big Sis Vi. So with Vi, we have, she's going to join up with the. I guess they're called Enforcers in the series, aren't they? I keep thinking Wardens, because that's what they're called in the game. But she's going to team up with Caitlyn to go up against her sister. I knew that was coming. I've said it before, that essentially the theme that Vi was built on as a character is bad cop to Caitlyn's good cop. So it was always going to happen, and I always knew it was going to happen. I kind of expected it to happen. I expected it all to be concluded in one season, back when it was done. But I'm loving that they're doing this more. I love more because it gives the time to develop the characters, and God, this is just going to be great. God damn it. It's just a few days. It's just a few days I have to wait. Thank God. God, I've lost my train of thought now. storyline for Vi. That was what I was doing. So I think to give like a rough, I think I can give a rougher idea for like her arc in this is going to be that at this point, at the beginning of this, the end of season 1, the beginning of season 2, she's kind of hit rock bottom. She didn't, Vi didn't really have anything. She lost everything going into prison, and she was imprisoned, as far as I can tell, illegally. Like, there was no chance at parole or anything. It was just life in prison. And that was her future until Caitlin came along. And God, I keep losing my thoughts. Without anything, and now that she's essentially only had her sister to sort of drive her, now that she's lost that, she's going to hit rock bottom. And I also think with Caitlin, it's like at the time they did kind of have their breakup in the rain, which was so much more dramatic than it needed to be, and it was fantastic. That they had as their final moment, but I also feel like Caitlin wasn't going to let that be the end of their relationship. But then Jinx came along and kidnapped them both. So I feel like they're on the same page, but it's a point to note that Caitlin's mom was a member of the council room that Jinx just blew up. And we saw the aftermath of that. It wasn't all that damaging, far less than I was expecting from a rocket like that. But with what we saw, I'm falling off Vi here. I'll get to Caitlin. The point being that she's essentially, I think they're going to have another breakup this time, with the reverse of Caitlin being the one pushing Vi away in a time of stress when Vi wants to be there for her and she won't let her. And that's when she'll hit rock bottom. Vi will hit rock bottom. But there's a turning point in there that I'm not quite sure about, because she's going to go from rock bottom to joining up with Caitlin. I feel like that's something that's going to happen. I think we got glimpses of that, because there's a shot of her in like of Vi in sort of darker clothing. It's like we've seen her in the Warden getup. We've seen her in a sort of punk, like there was like dogs on the back, darker clothes style look. And I'm not sure if that scenario is happening before or after. Is this her in her rock bottom phase before reconnecting with Caitlin, or is that her doing like undercover work for Caitlin? Yeah, sort of deal. It's curious to see, but so it's a little tricky. But I think the general story will be she'll hit rock bottom, she'll reconnect with Caitlin in some way, join up. She'll hit that point of no return where she kind of accepts that her sister is gone and she needs to be stopped. Her sister will do something, or it could just be the rocket alone. So she joins up to stop her sister, and that will be something they deal with. It's also curious about... Focus. Keeping the focus. Sorry. Her general thing will be thing. So, but the overall relationship will be fall apart, come back together, and be partnered by the end of it. For Caitlin, or for Vi, sorry. Which leads to Caitlin, which I was going to discuss a little more. I mean, it's hard to... Caitlin had a lot of time in the series, but we didn't really get all that much, I'd say, development necessarily from her. So I feel like we're going to get more of a story for her where she's mean-mugging it in all the scenes we see her in, and she had that line about ripping the laugh out of Jinx's throat. And it suggests, like I said, Caitlin's mom was a member of the council, and with all of that, I'm going to go with the assumption that Caitlin's mom probably dies in that attack, realistically, and so that'll explain why Caitlin will push Vi away. It's very like, I had that chance to stop her, but you stopped me kind of thing. And it's like, that's, I guess, another question I'd have for you guys. Why did Caitlin not shoot Jinx when she had her at the dinner scene? If she had her that one shot, it's like, did she stop because Caitlin's fundamentally not somebody to just blow somebody away when she has the chance, which she's kind of proven when she didn't kill Savika? or because Vi called her off? Like, is that why? And I feel like that's a question that's kind of the question that has to be answered for Caitlyn in this, where she's mean-mugging it most of the time. She's very clearly aggressive towards Jinx. It effectively becomes that, will she be pushed to becoming, just straight up going to go for the kill, or is she going to prove herself to be a better person and go to capture her despite her own personal beef with Jinx? So, it is. I guess another question I have for you guys, for Caitlyn, is concerning her mom. Do you want her mom to die in the rocket blast? Because I personally was like, I think I have. Look, from what I've seen here, I'm going to go with probably is, but I'm holding out a teeny tiny speck, itty bitty speck of copium-fueled hope that she won't die. That Caitlyn's mom won't die in the blast. She'll just be hurt in the blast, and that's enough, because I just don't want terrible things to happen to Caitlyn. I don't know why. This is why I'd be a terrible storyteller or writer. I'd never be able to do terrible things to my characters. It would just be all fine and dandy goodness. But therein is the challenge of seeing, having Caitlyn struggle with that between duty and personal vendettas, and also proving that she is. I think fundamentally Caitlyn will win out. She is. She's the good cop to Vi's bad cop. She's not going to just murder Jinx in cold blood or anything like that. Although I would love to see. I discussed it in my previous reactions, but I would love to see like a one-on-one between Jinx and Caitlyn. We've seen that there's going to be a fight between the sisters, but I kind of feel like they've set that up where, it's sort of interesting where in the game Vi and Jinx are the opposing forces. They're the ones sort of butting heads. In Arcane, they've really built Caitlyn and Jinx to be sort of these opposing forces. Both of them are excellent marksmen. Though Caitlyn has not demonstrated yet, she is also built around traps and ambush tactics like Jinx is. So in a way, their skill sets are very similar and identical. So having a battle between these two would be very interesting to see. And it would also be interesting to see Caitlyn sort of pop off and show how dangerous she can really be if she just says, fuck it, and let's just go. No more holding back. Show the marksman, show the hunter, and have her go after Jinx, and then ultimately, like I suggested before, have Caitlyn go after Jinx, but ultimately have that moment just like she had before. Have Caitlyn Caitlyn have Jinx dead to rights, every personal reason to pull the trigger on her, but not do it because it's just fundamentally the wrong thing to do. It's just killing her in cold blood just isn't. Killing Jinx in cold blood is not something Caitlyn would choose to do. Yeah, so that, it's so much interesting things. Oh, there's so many things. I want to go back and watch it a bunch of times again to better analyze it, but I'm trying to give my first impressions and also not spoil myself. God damn it. I got a whole series I'm going to watch, and the more I know beforehand, the more ruined it's going to be. I don't... God, this is torture. So that's most of my thoughts. The only thing left is I discussed Warwick, I discussed things. I guess the only thing is our B-plot from Season 1. And our B-plot boys that were assigned to it. Echo, Heimerdinger, Jace, and Victor, who really weren't all in this all that much. I don't think we saw... I think there was that one potential shot of Victor with the thing in his arm, with the gem in his arm. That could be Victor. That would be a possibility that I would guess. But other than that, haven't seen anything. Jace haven't seen at all that I caught. And very little of Heimerdinger and Echo. And it's also interesting to me that whereas Jace and Victor were our kings of the B-plot, our main drivers of that, and Heimerdinger and Echo were more supporting characters overall. In season 1, Echo was the one we got next to nothing about. He was always there, but we didn't really get much of his story. Whereas here, in these trailers at least, it seems to have flipped a little bit. He's far more, such as it is, he's far more in the trailer than any of the others. I mean, Jace and Victor are practically non-existent. But going into that B-block about the hex core, which I've discussed before, but there's no, so I can't really give anything without any glimpses here in the trailer. I don't really have any other different thoughts about what's going to happen, but the only thing we did catch was that one shot of like it was like a religious moment where they were rising up and having that sort of metallic stuff on them, suggesting something similar to what Victor went through. It's like that's the only thing, and a few shots of the what looks like the hex core changing drastically. We haven't got a lot about how it's going to go out. Like, are we going to conclude that, or is it going to stay a like hidden threat that's sort of growing in the background that we as viewers are going to get to a look at to see how bad it's getting, but we're not actually going to conclude that's more of like a preparation for for something in the future, which would be interesting. But I also think they may handle that problem now. And it's also an interesting facet to see that they've taken it a step further with the hex core, where it's sort of the hex core and Victor are sort of the tied story of Victor being, I discussed this before, but it's the same thing where Victor essentially, his story is the guy who uses mechanical augmentation to negate human error and human frailty. And they've kind of taken it a little further, where they have that with limb replacement being a relevant, what am I talking about? A very, oh God, I can't even think of the word here. Was it prevalent? A prolific practice in the Undercity of limb replacement. It looked like a couple of other guys in the shot were also augmented. That is usually what Victor is about. But now that it's more this, it looks like the hex core is going to be less about mechanical augmentation and more like biomechanical hybridization, which is kind of what happened to him before. It's like he had that whole, Victor had that whole transformation of his leg, but that wasn't replacing his leg with a mechanical one. It was augmenting his existing leg with metallic properties. I don't really know what he did to himself, but it's interesting to see that that's sort of the approach they're going with, and it seems like it is, because his whole thing is creating this glorious evolution, almost a religion around upgrading yourself, and so it seems like that's sort of starting with other people also getting augmented or upgraded. I don't know how you'd call that. But I'm getting lost. This is getting way too long, so I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. Thoughts on anything? I'd love to hear them. So thanks for watching. Thumbs up if you liked it. Comment below. And I'll see you in the next one, okay? Bye.